You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Coming to you live from a completely different year and a completely different month since the last time we talked to you. I went to WonderCon. Travis didn't, but other things happened that have nothing to do with Rick and Morty. But hell, we're back, and this is Interdimensional IRSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
Here we are. It's great to be back. It's something about that music. Something about that music that just it gets me ready, ggets me pumped.
Yeah.
Like it. I don't know.
It ripples off the eardrums.
It does a little bit. Yeah,
it's what it does. I'm gonna do something real quick, Travis, and I'm gonna stop the recording. So
again.
Hey everybody, this is Interdimensional RSS. I am Brandon.
And I'm Travis.
And that was an inside joke from the first time we stopped recording the podcast because
it's a bonus feature. We'll consider that I don't know, a Patreon behind the scenes exclusive. They'll just get noiseless video for their behind the scenes.
You'll love it.
But yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome back. Welcome. Happy 2025. It's been quite a while since we all got to talk, but we're so excited to be back. We have lots of exciting announcements to cover. But before we get into that, let's do what we always do and start off with some housekeeping. If you're new here, if you're listening or watching for the first time and you want to get in contact with the show, plenty of ways you can do that. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Rick and Morty Podcast. We are on Instagram, Rick and Morty Podcast. You can send us emails, rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. And we are now available on Blue Sky, rickandmortypod.bsky.social. I assume that's correct. It's what's written in the show notes. Brandon will have to verify. We continue to scour various subreddits, including the official Rick and Morty subreddit, rickandmorty.reddit.com. We have our own subreddit, rickandmortypodcast.reddit.com. One of us should probably check in and see how that's going. And then we have our website, rickandmortypod.com. Real quick, if you want to catch video versions of this, if you're listening to the audio version, you want to see which one is talking, you can go to youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. And if you want to support our podcast, you can go to patreon.com/apathetic enthusiasm. Support all of our podcasts over there. And that's it. That's our show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
This is just our chance to say, hey, we still have microphones. We can still record, and we're out of here. There's nothing else to talk about.
We're just checking in to make sure you know how to get a hold of us in case anything exciting happens.
Nothing.
Thanks for listening.
Nothing's going on. How are things, Travis? What's
so
happening?
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to complain about or be upset about. Just so happy to be here.
Same.
Happy April Fools, everybody.
I hate today.
Yeah. Did you have a rough one?
No.
Did you get got?
No. I for a second I did think I got. I was about to head into work this morning, and I see Bleacher Report, bleacherreport.com news site, and I see some news come out of the NFL, and it's like NFL revamps the touchback rule to start at the 35-yard line, and I was like, interesting, and I sent that to a couple friends this morning, and they're like, April Fools, man, come on. I'm like, they got me. And then they're like, no, that's actually real. No, that's not a fool's thing at all.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
It's always hard to trust any news on April 1st. Like even very real and accurate news. You're just like, are you sure about that? Your car is being towed right now. Yeah, you got me with this one last year. I'm not going to believe that your car's not in the parking lot. You need it. Yeah, sure. Right, buddy.
Here's the bill for the towing and the impound. Yeah.
As soon as I find where I parked my car, you're going to be sorry.
That looks legit. City of Los Angeles.
It's real commitment to the bit.
Yeah.
The only thing that got me this morning is my wife borrowed my car yesterday and she was listening to the radio. Usually I just do like Spotify in my car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking my kids to school and the radio was on and they were just playing like boy band songs. And then they're like, this is WWJD CW and our new format, boy band radio, all boy bands all the time. And I was like, oh, April 1st. There it is.
There it is. But
something to be said for old school radio, that they still commit to the morning zoo, as it were.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Nothing else happened on April Fool's, as we know. We don't expect anything Rick and Morty related. So this is gonna make it
not like the biggest ever event in Rick and Morty history to have ever happened on April Fool's, when they just straight up premiered an episode of season 3, which also helped slingshot this podcast into existence.
Yeah. Never happened.
Yeah, it never happened. Never happened. Should we put together show notes for this? I had a hard time deciding on whether the entirety of this episode consisted of a main thing or semi-pertinent news. I feel like it's like the main thing is semi-pertinent news.
Is that my cue?
I think we've wasted enough time. Let's just get into what is our one and only segment for this podcast. Semi-pertinent news.
Semi-pertinent news.
There it is.
Swami, semi-pertinent news.
We're getting back into the flow of things for 2025, everybody. You gotta kind of subside.
I didn't want to start off our new season of episodes by doing something I've done before, which I'm sure I've done the Swami. I'm sure I have.
You got to be fresh. You got to be original.
Yeah,
exactly.
You got to come original.
Yeah, that's right.
311. We're doing our 311 themed intro musics from here on out. Anyway.
Well, for those of you that maybe do not follow Adult Swim activity as closely as we do, or you're not following them on social media, or you were not watching Adult Swim last night, something very exciting happened. Adult Swim premiered a special surprise episode of Rick and Morty. This was, as they call it, a 22-minute anthology special featuring fan favorite Rick and Morty moments retold through an Adult Swim lens of absurd, live-action, theater-based genres. So they did like a stage performance of Rick and Morty stuff to announce the new season of Rick and Morty.
That's
pretty
right.
exciting stuff.
Pretty exciting stuff. Super exciting stuff.
So what are the deets?
Yeah.
When's it coming? When's season 8? Brandon?
We'll get to it
soon.
After we talk about
It's coming soon.
It's coming soon. They're drawing it. So this whole event, it's at this point in time, it's tradition to hope and pray that there's going to be a new episode of Rick and Morty on April Fool's Day. Obviously, since that first time, they've gotten away from actually premiering episodes, but doing fun, weird stuff like the puppet show. They did Bushroll Adventures, obviously, and this one is super interesting. And the portal players, I think is what they call it.
Yes.
All of it live action stage play Rick and Morty moments. And they earlier in the day, they showed, I think, Rick and Morty social media. They showed just like the 8, the number 8, and it looked like a portal. And it's like, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's like, ooh, okay. So some people shot us some notes on our social media channels, and I was kind of keeping an ear out, keeping an eye out. And then bing, bang, boom, there it is. We finally watched it. And there were some clips that led up to it as well. And like, well, what's going on with this? What's happening here? We both watched it, the entire thing. And it's 24 minutes long. Pretty good. I liked
really
it a
liked
lot.
it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that so many scenes from Rick and Morty become instant classics. There are so many rewatchable scenes and scenes that fans quote over and over again. They have been retold in various different styles and animation styles and things like that. And I feel like the collection of moments that they selected to portray in this stage performance, I thought they hit a lot of the best ones. And a credit to all of the actors and producers and writers and everybody that the work that went in to make this production. They did a phenomenal job. Like some of it's a little tongue in cheek, some of it's like a little over the top, but a lot of it's like really, I don't know, it's really good stuff. Some of it's just absurd, but do you want to roll through sort of the different scenes that they covered in this little 22-minute episode?
Of course we do. It starts with Pickle Rick.
As all things do.
The scene when Rick turns into a pickle and then starts to dry out. The cat, this scene, the cat is like, "No, I'm a stick. I know you're afraid of sticks." And then him going into the sewer and then killing the rat. All like fun. I was laughing when, like, because the Pickle Rick mouth is wide open, and the girl who's inside the costume is like licking towards the brain of the puppet rat,
the cricket that like crawls.
Oh yeah. So I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought she did a great job. That was really good. The next one that they went into was a retelling.
Well, they did the intro right after that.
Yes, you're right. They did. And it was like kind of like instrumental, like live performance of the intro with a bunch of like stagehands dressed in like all black, like like bodysuits as they're like moving like the E equals MC squared across the screen and stuff like that. They had a Cthulhu puppet. The intro was good. The intro was good.
And you're about to talk about the mimes. So a theme throughout the all of these different scenes is they weren't all like straightforward Rick and Morty kind of remakes of those scenes. They did a lot of unique things, and I didn't realize what was happening at first with the Meeseeks mimes bit. So
yeah, it was like a weird, very, very different sort of approach to theater and like I think that the first clip was a little bit more like straightforward. It was just like, yeah, they're redoing Pickle Rick for the stage. But then you cut to this next scene with the Meeseeks. They're all mimes. They're all like in mime makeup. There's no dialogue. They're just acting it out like silently. It's the scene where isn't it Jerry in the kitchen, and he's like, he needs to like use his golf swing to save the lady, otherwise the Meeseeks are gonna kill the lady in the kitchen or something like that. Yeah, they act it out using only mime. It's, you know, and say what you will about, you know, the talents of mimes, but it's I don't know, they did a pretty good job. I would not rank this in my top 5 of the clips or scenes from this episode, but you know, it's everybody loves Meeseeks, and so you gotta have some Meeseeks representation.
Those Meeseeks kind of look like the main Meeseeks holding the gun look kind of like a Jack Nicholson Joker.
I could see it, yeah, a little bit.
The next scene that they did was the vat of acid at the very, very beginning of that episode, with aliens, giant masks, Rick and Morty jumping into a vat of acid, and then all of the dialogue, like, hey, take your time, boss. You know, he's like,
yeah, no, it happened here. I want to stay in the space or whatever, right? Like, yeah. Vat of Acid, such a classic episode. I like that when Rick and Morty jump into the vat of acid, the actors are like pretending to be floating because they're not actually in any liquid, and then they're just throwing like plastic bones like up into the air to kind of like create the image of the bones floating up and stuff like that. Yeah, it was really good.
Oh yeah,
I think there's like bubbles, like a bubble machine or something to kind of create the the ambiance of it.
The time testicle ballet, this felt like super short, and it was there and it was done.
Yeah, it was just real quick. That one was kind of weird, but it was probably that point when I was like, I got it. Okay, they're just doing different forms of live theater. And so like we got some mime, we've got some other straight just like dramatic scenes. Now we have ballet. I'm in. I'm totally locked in. What is next? And immediately following this, we get the near and dear to longtime listeners of the Interdimensional IRSS podcast, the Blood Dome Battle League, the musical. It was a Blood Dome, like rock opera, musical, scene where Morty fights in the Blood Dome.
And what's funny to me about that was they're all singing. Everyone's singing. They've got opera singers, but they're just singing the lines. There's no rhyming. They didn't change up any of the words. They're just singing about, why am I doing this? I hate you, Dad. Why are you? Just go away. You know, and then like Morty on the opera way. And I thought, yeah, whatever. It's opera.
I really liked it. I also thought it was interesting. It was at this point I kind of started to pick up on like the different, almost like theater groups that they used to make this happen, because there's like 3 or 4 different Ricks in this, several different Mortys, a whole range of different actors portraying the characters. So it's almost like they put the word out to a group of different theater groups and like, all right, we're doing this thing. We want your group to take on the Meeseeks. We want your group. We want a musical of the Blood Dome Battle League. Make it happen. And then it just came together in this like beautiful project that premiered last night on Adult Swim.
Following up with Blood Dome, the musical, we have a short little dance sequence with a very handsome Mr. Nimbus.
That I still don't know how to feel about. It was kind of weird. Yeah.
It's just
that
so
to me
weird.
was very like Adult Swim. Just like, hey, let's put a guy in Mr. Nimbus costume and just have him gyrate on stage for a few minutes.
And
it's fine.
Then the next one is, you know, part of one of the greatest series of all time. How they make it, and it's a live action version of how to make a plumbus. This And I really laughed every time he just kind of stared into the camera, and it was it was kind of like that Tim and Eric show.
Yes.
Great job. Yes. Especially that one clip of Tim and Eric where they're playing the not Jackie Chan, and then and they hit the buzzer and it's just like, and he's smiling, but then he like smiles at the camera and it's turning more and more ominous. That's what it felt like.
When he holds up the plumbus at the end and he's just staring right into camera, like he's staring a couple beats too long, to where it becomes uncomfortable, and you're like, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
They know.
Yeah.
The 100 Years Shakespeare and Morty, the one woman show. Good on her. like the script and the fact that this one woman is doing the 100 Years Rick and Morty. She's playing both Rick and Morty, obviously, and so she's like she's into it, and she falls on the floor, and she's like, oh, doing the Morty stuff, but then she jumps back up, and then she's saying like the Rick Shakespearean lines. It was really interesting, the different words that they used to capture the essence of it.
Yeah, I thought that the performance was great. The fact that she played both roles, and she kind of had that like split costume that was yellow on one side, blue on one side, to kind of represent both Rick and Morty. But yeah, the different words that they use, the writing of this, and for those of you that haven't seen it, this is essentially that 100 Years Rick and Morty garage scene from the end of the first season, right? Where Rick's like up in his face, 100 Years Rick and Morty, www.rickandmorty.com, whatever. Was that the first season or the first episode? First episode. Yeah.
The mega seeds.
The mega seeds. That's right. But yeah, the way that they rewrote it with a Shakespearean, like all the flowery words and the complicated vocabulary. Yeah, this is in the running for me as one of my favorite scenes from the episode. I thought she did a great job. I thought the writing was great. I just thought it was a great twist on that, classic scene.
Mm-hmm. For definite. I liked this next clip, which is you titled it as the geriatric Rick dance.
Yeah, I did.
Because you did, and it didn't occur to me until maybe a quarter of the way through. I'm like, oh, this must be like one of the playhouses that it's like in an over 55 community, and they're like, hey, we got nothing going on. Let's do some theater.
Yeah.
And I like that one. Slow Mobius. Get after it.
Yeah. I mean, the Rick dance is classic to begin with, but they kill it. It's great.
They look like they're having so much fun. And I'm like, I wonder if if they were like, we got to get on TV, guys. We got to do this.
What I'm gonna, for the video viewers, just one of my favorite parts is this really old dude that's playing Morty. Like, he's not really dancing. He just comments at the beginning and the end of it, like, "What the heck is that?" But they have him just in like the yellow T-shirt with the brown wig. But yeah, he's like the oldest Morty I think I've ever seen.
I love that. I love that guy. I want to be his friend.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Rounding out the episode, we had a couple other clips. The Western Parasites is this is a Western scene where the Smith family is all being played by like cowboys. And it's the scene from the Parasites episode where they're sitting with Uncle Steve, yeah, and it's the whole scene, but with like a little bit of a Western spin on it, and it's just terrific. It's really good.
I think that is definitely in my top few for it.
Yeah,
just because why did they go the Western cowboy route? I of all the different genres they could have been like, let's do a Western. With still the Parasite showing up at the end, which I like.
I thought the execution with the Parasite, the puppet that they used for it, I thought that was terrific. The inclusion of Mr. Poopy Butthole like coming in at the end, and it's just like a guy with a beard that's like face is painted yellow, and he's wearing like kind of tight shorts. It's top to bottom. I think it's great, and it's one of those things that, like, fans know that episode. That episode has been around for years and years and years. So many people have gone back to it, have rewatched it numerous times. So to take a completely different spin on it, using live actors, making it a Western, it's a new way to experience that scene and make it fresh and enjoyable. So I thought it was really fun that they did that.
Yeah. Right after that, it's the closing, and the closing starts with just 10 seconds of Mr. Needful.
Yeah, I was like, oh, are we gonna get a Needful Things like bit? And then it's just like
It's just it's just
and
the
then
outro.
it goes and then it's just jazz music and everybody, doing their curtain calls and things like that.
Right. And as is the use for any Rick and Morty episode, there is an after credits stinger, and this is by Mr. Poopy Butthole and his closing monologue when he's talking about not getting his job at the university.
Yeah. Rick made me do karate.
I guess that was funny.
Yeah. It's the same actor playing Mr. Poopy Butthole as in the Western scene, but now he's in his apartment, his sad little apartment. He does the whole monologue. There's a picture of his wife, and it's the actual like animated version of his wife in the picture frame. It's just great. It's fantastic. I thought that actor did really well. Like I would be interested in seeing that actor perform other monologues or something, because I think he did really good.
The jazz kept playing throughout, and I got a very distinct feeling, sense of David Lynch kind of feel, right? Thinking of like the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks, Mulholland Drive, like all of like the silencio, all of that kind of like. And it was kind of around that point I'm like, man, this does feel really David Lynchian, like just this kind of absurdist, but also like dream-ish. It felt dreamlike, which shout out to David Lynch, who is not with us anymore.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I say shout out when people die, because
shout out.
I don't want it to be negative. I want it to be positive.
We do listener short outs like every episode.
Yeah.
So
well, that's
no
short
wonder
outs.
our fan base is dwindling. Oh, short outs. Okay.
Yeah. That's not
shout out to David Lynch. Short out to our listeners. Thank you, Unity. So that was pretty much it. 22 episodes or 22 minutes, give or take. If you missed it, if you were not watching, good news. The whole thing is available in its entirety out on YouTube. We will include a link in the show notes or down in the description of this video so that you can go check it out as well. And then at the end of it, there was also a sneak peek of an episode from season 8. So along with the actual like stage show, we got a little taste of the actual animated series that's coming back in May. I don't know. What did you think about the clip, Brandon? What were your initial thoughts?
Initial thought is like, oh no, my anxiety went up because I'm like, oh, it's time. It's
happening.
Oh,
it's real.
Oh, I got to get prepared. I can't be lazy through any more comic conventions. I have to actually do work now.
Getting geared.
But I saw it. I was excited. The clip with it's like going into looking at all the animation, him getting like the Easter eggs, it being a holiday theme. Obviously the Wicker Man reference.
The Wicker Man references, like the
on.
fact that there was a movie reference. They went to some weird planet that seemed kind of humanoid, but just like a little overly themed to something that was like not quite Earth. The holiday reference, space Christians, like it just everything felt like a return to form where they're just like social commentary, like movie commentary. Let's also make it a holiday episode for some reason. Like the space Christians are hunting down an actual Easter bunny that like was all like muscled out and stuff in a little hologram image. Like all of that stuff feels very true to Rick and Morty. So I'm hopeful that we'll get episodes like this that feel like, just like one-off adventures and they really explore, going off and doing Rick and Morty type adventures like that, while I'm sure weaving in, other bits of lore and storytelling that tie back to previous episodes and stuff. So,
Yeah, man. And other than seeing a clip of the new season, the biggest aspect of that is we finally have a release date for season 8, which is May 25th. We now have a goal. We have
so soon.
Compared to 2 years ago.
Yeah, when we went to Comic-Con, we're still like, hey, any news? And they were still very hush hush about it. May 25th, premiering on Adult Swim, 11 p.m. Eastern. I also thought it was very interesting that in the press release, at least, or in, I think it's on the clip that we just described, the YouTube, they also mentioned that coming to Hulu and Max on September 1st. So we have a release date not only for the series on Adult Swim, but we also know when the series will become available for streaming as well. So pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. Does that seem to imply that they're not going to have any kind of break? There's going to the straight through?
I mean, I would think like, I think it says, maybe it's in the press release, maybe not. Maybe it's something I saw like Harry Belden say on his Instagram or something. But yeah, it sounds like they're releasing the full season. They're still, I mean, it's usually 10 episodes, right? Yeah. I think is that the case for this as well?
Yeah, I imagine so.
Read the whole press release.
Let's see, May, June, July. So, I mean, they might have like a mini break in July for 4th of July weekend, maybe, but
maybe. I have a feeling that around the time of Comic-Con, we will either be just before the season finale or have just seen the season finale.
Yeah.
And then I could definitely see Adult Swim doing something where they bring cast or crew out for some sort of panel to either look back on the whole season or celebrate, the end of the season.
Yeah, like if the finale hasn't been shown yet, I can see them being on the green and showing the finale there. Right.
Yeah. That would be a lot of fun. That would be pretty awesome. And then get to the end of July, couple months later, you get it, all of it available for streaming on Max. I think that kind of tracks for and gives them a little bit of wiggle room in case not everything's done or there's some delays or anything, our society crumbles in that time and they need to take a break. You never know.
You never know. So, you never know. We should party if that happens. Hello.
So that's the exciting news. May 25th is the return of Rick and Morty season 8, which also means, barring any unforeseen circumstances, the return of interdimensional RSS, right?
Oh yeah, that's us.
Yeah. So, we will obviously be checking in periodically as we get closer to May 25th, as any other news comes up, or if there's any other opportunity to talk with creators, cast, crew, anybody like that, leading up to the new season, and then expect from us weekly updates during the season as we recap all of the episodes and give our own thoughts and opinions on all of the new episodes. But we want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
What are your thoughts?
You should hit us up on social media.
Yeah. Like these fine folks and listeners, suggestions and short outs.
Yeah, so a couple listeners, suggestions and short outs. Shout out to short out. Oh no, short out to Harry Belden, actor who liked our story.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Ian Cardoni also.
Why don't you come talk to us between now and May 25th as we get geared up for the next season?
Ian also liked our comment on their page, and then Hair Jake. He also liked us.
Jacob
Hare. Yeah. So short out to folks over on Blue Sky, because yes, you're right, Travis. We do have a Blue Sky presence there.
Yes.
Oh, there's a new character limit. Thank you for that notification while I open up the app. Cubed Pork reposted our post. Rick and Morty season 8 premiere May 25th. See you then. Chris Lloyd, when the
Christopher Lloyd?
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. Morty. When they were showing the Portal players last night, Chris shot us a note and said, "What the heck is on Cartoon Network right now?" And saying, I said April Fools, and then Chris said, "Are there any other episodes like this?" And I said, "Narp." So short out to you, Chris. Jeff Gould, a couple days ago, this guy gets it. When I posted about 11 years of Rick and Morty, hot diggity damn, from 4 months ago.
Unbelievable. 11 years.
Yeah, man.
99 to go.
And then let's see. I know we've got let's see.
Scary Terry Folds.
Scary Terry Folds, of course.
Longtime fan of the show and friend of the podcast. Hit us up last night. I'm so excited. That musical bit was excellent in so many ways. Always love checking in with Scary Terry Folds, and glad they are still an avid fan of Rick and Morty. And
then over on the website that will not be named because I haven't canceled that account yet, Kylie, I can't wait to listen to my favorite Rick and Morty podcast again after every episode at Rick and Morty Pod, # Rick and Morty season 8. May 25th.
Like and subscribe, retweet to all your friends.
We'll be there. And if I missed you on the short outs, I apologize. We're scraping the dust off of how we do this show.
Yes, we're just happy to be here. We're happy to be talking Rick and Morty. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the news we have to share for this episode. But if you have other thoughts, other opinions about anything that we've talked about, whether that's when the show is coming out, how they release the information, if you have other thoughts on the musical bits, if there's any other nods to theater that we missed because we're not cultured in that way, or you just have other thoughts about Rick and Morty, hit us up. You can either leave a rate, review on your podcatcher of choosing. You can leave a comment on the YouTube video, or hit us up on any of those social media links. We'd love to continue the conversation there. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much. If you're new here or you're seeing this for the first time, like, subscribe, do all the things so that you don't miss an episode. And we will see you very soon, definitely before May 25th, for another episode. Until then, I'm Travis.
And I'm Brandon. Thank you so much.